Good evening, all. Welcome to the Rangers Raffle. It's JD here, and we are going to do the match reaction. And before we start, just want to say thanks for Scotty for making it there. Scotty boy, thank you. Look at Mark. His beard was gone grey waiting you.
Yes, fella.
No comment.
No comment. Yeah.
I got nothing.
You haven't. How are we, everybody? Thanks for joining us. We are live on YouTube tonight, and I'm going to keep it positive because I know I was going to write notes to talk about the game, and actually after 10 minutes I wrote absolutely nothing, and I was going to come on here and I was throwing the hat down and stuff, but we got there in the end, so it was a tough one, but again we're grinding out these results. So tonight
hang on, when you say it was a tough one, do you mean it was just a really crap watch? Right, regular viewers will know that I do not drink at all, and it has driven me to drink.
Yeah, and look, true London style, he's drinking some sort of craft gin or something like that. But I don't think I can attend it.
I was waiting to say it's usually a tin of Tennants or something, but no. Posh.
Stop. Sorry, everybody. Welcome and hello and good evening. Thanks for everybody for watching and coming on. Let's have a chat about the game. I'm joined by Brian, Mark, and Scotty. How are we, gents?
Very good, thanks.
Hello to everybody. Yeah, hello to everybody in the comments. We got there in the end tonight. Got a couple of things to chat about. I didn't actually write anything down because we'll just chat about the game. I think we'll keep it positive because we have got there in the end, Brian. But no buts. What's your thoughts?
Turgent, not very inspiring, but a touch of class from Arfield at not quite the end, but near the end. But it was a hard watch. wasn't very good, but 3 points. That's about all you can say.
3 points is all you can say, Mark. I don't think we were laboured at the start, but we were just a little bit. It was kind of. We've seen Rangers teams or Rangers 11s play at this quite a lot. This kind of just not really creating much. Is that more down to the start of the 11? Do you think? And we thought the forward three kind of picked itself, but. Does that forward three have the quality to really see us over the line in games when you're talking squad depth?
Well, I thought that we started okay, but just final third kill us is just as if we got to a certain stage and just run out of ideas. I think front three, Itten, I'm sorry, I've backed him to the hilt, but nah.
Just let's hold your water on that. We'll get to Cedric. We'll have a wee chat. There's a couple of players I want to talk about, but good evening, Ewan. How's it going? It's going all right, I think, isn't it? It was good to have a wee poke at Scotty before we come on and do it live on air, so it's going okay. Scotty, what's your thoughts, mate? It's drove you to drink tonight?
My thoughts? No, to be honest, I actually thought, how can I sugarcoat this?
You can.
You can't.
I can't watch this. So we went into the game and we knew it was going to be a tough one. We knew what we were going to face. We were going to face one bank of 10, really. And we knew we had to play a patient game. And I thought the players really executed the patience really well. Perhaps they could have been a little less patient and increase the urgency somewhat. And I think they actually did in spells. And to be honest, I was really encouraged by Alex Lowry. And he didn't always get the ball when he probably should have done. And I think the players were probably a little bit hesitant because he did have a couple of moments early on in the first half where he took a bit of a heavy touch. I think it was more of an intentional heavy touch because he gets more time in the Lowland League or whatnot. And he'll learn not to do that. And I think he learned throughout the game. But always demanded the ball. And see when he got on the ball, he was making these pros look absolutely stupid. Yeah. It was absolutely class, and it was really refreshing to see. I think the disappointment actually comes with some of the more supposed senior players and their now obvious lack of quality. Because sometimes when you have the better players like Aribo with you, it kind of masks them. But then with Itten, Sakala and Wright up front, they were just exposed for, sadly, the level that they're at.
Brian, we've kind of been, it's all over Twitter, it's all over the internet that we have this really deep squad, and you see people saying, "Oh, we'll still win the league. Our squad is so far much deeper and far much better." Is a wee light being shined on it tonight that perhaps numbers-wise the squad's deep, quality-wise it perhaps isn't, and we'll come on to individual players in a wee minute, but just in general terms, Brian?
I've always said that the first 11 are, as well, the strongest in Scotland by a considerable distance. But the sooner you take one out, two out, three out, the deeper you take more of them out, the weaker it gets. And that, I suppose that's natural of any team in any league. But it's more evident this season with us because we're getting more injuries, we're getting more suspensions, and it's just getting highlighted more this season because it's more prevalent. I think. Simple as that.
I think we'll come on to Alex Lowry because I want to have a say on this matter, even though I'm hosting, because my kitchen's getting decorated, right? So the girls and the wife are away staying at the in-laws, so I've got the house to myself. So I was lying watching the pod last night, not live, and I was throwing all sorts at my TV because I couldn't believe the boys were downgrading. I know it was still in Albion, but you can just see when a player's got, when he gets a ball, how good a player he is. Doesn't matter who MD was around him. He's got awareness and he's got touch, he's got guile, he's confident. So I was really surprised. So we'll come on to Alex Lowry in a bit, and I'm going to call out some of the boys. But Mark, somebody was wanting to touch on, and I think the first half was kind of just manifested, and this player seems to be a real confidence player, and his confidence just bombed as the game went on, and he was eventually substituted. But Scott Wright struggled tonight.
Big time. Massively. I think I said in the chat, I think it was well documented. We need a right-sided midfielder. We need an attacking midfielder for that right-hand side. The wee man, I think I said it before, the wee man is good coming on the last 20 minutes. I don't think he's a starter. I don't think he's good enough to start. I've gave him all the praise and when he's deserved it, and I've given him as many chances as I'm going to give him. I think he's only going to be a squad player now. I don't think he's ever going to make it, and I think he said a couple of games there. It showed what he was made of. He's not took his chance. Pardon me. I'm not
going to take it to Scotty because we know Scotty's opinion on Scott, right? And Mark, me and you started last week, and he let rip, so I'm not allowing it.
Scott's curry muncher, isn't he?
Yeah, we need to still remember there are Rangers players, aren't they? So they are. I think Scott Wright will have a part to play because we need a big squad, so he will need to play his part coming off the bench, and he does sometimes look better like that, Brian. But starter-wise, he had to start tonight, I think. But longevity in that, I don't think it's going to be the answer, is it?
The more the weeks and games go on, the more obvious it seems that he is more an impact player rather than a starter. And it's unfortunate because he started really well when he arrived, and he's Scottish, he's young. It's just, it just doesn't seem to be working out for him as when he starts ever. He starts maybe okay, and then the game just passes him by, and he misses the whole game. Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Folks, get some comments into us. There's a lot of people watching just now, so thank you very much for tuning in. Scotty, I'm not coming to speak about Scott, right? So it would be good to have your put your comments in. Try and keep them clean, folks, and I'll bring them up. There's a lot of ones that I can't bring up. Please keep them clean. I was watching the podcast the other night to clarify that. Scotty, first half, Livingston are a tough nut to crack. I said this earlier, but it felt like it was going to be one of those nights.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it quite a lot last season, and thankfully we weren't in the stadium to actually go to the effort of going to the game to watch the games. And I think the difference is, even at home, you can sense the frustration from the stands, and that's even after 5 minutes. So it just doesn't help. It's like anxious anxiety. You kind of get that feeling. But we should really know better by now, because we do face the same thing week in, week out at Ibrox against the majority of teams that we play. The frustration lies because we always play the same way when we come up against it. That being said, we've walked away with a 1-0 win. So do we really care about the previous 90 minutes? Possibly a little bit. Are we going to care in a couple of weeks? Probably not. The first half, I probably... I think there was a few opportunities, but again, going back to what I said at the start, I think we were just too patient. I just thought, oh, well, we're Rangers, we are better than this team, the goal will come. And it did, but yeah. It's just we had chances. We had quite a few chances. And again, Lowry was the guy that brought the endeavour to actually attack them, take them on, get into pockets of space in behind.
Yeah. And, guys, folks, you can tell Scotty's trying to keep it positive because he just keeps going back to Alex Lowry. He doesn't want to speak about anything else other than Alex
Lowry. Hang on. Yeah. Well, do you know what? I thought Scott. No.
So, Brian, it was Michael Charlton. Yep. How you doing, Michael? Hope you're well. It was a pretty powder puff first half, to be honest. I'll be open and honest. Sakala is somebody who I've wanted to work for, and in the last couple of weeks, I've been a bit like, I'm not sure. Even at half time, I was a bit like, my mates were saying, he's good, he's running, he's only person. And I'm like, aye, but he's getting the ball and running. But I thought he really upped his game. He took a lot of responsibility on in the second half.
Yeah. I mean, with obviously Morelos and Kent missing, he was pretty much the only recognised, obvious starter out of the three that were up front. So yeah, there was obviously a need for him to do something or even produce something tonight. But as I've said before, his legs are far too quick for his brain. He's going at 1,000,000 miles an hour and his brain can't keep up. But yeah, it's blatantly obvious that out with our 11, we can maybe hack -1, we can maybe hack -2 at a push, maybe 3. But when you start getting into 4, lost 5 players out of the first 11, we're not as good as we should be.
Yeah, Mark, I'm going to jump back to Scotty for a wee bit and let him defend himself. I was on a pod with Scotty last week at some point, and he was an advocate for Cedric Itten, and I think tonight, for me, I don't think Cedric showed anything at all. Jonathan saying strikers need to be active in and around the 6-yard box. Big Cedric's head was in the cloud at some points, even in the first half. Scotty, what's your defence of the big man?
Hold on. You cut me off when talking about Scott Wright, but you get the opportunity to slag Big Ced to dead.
I'm hosting, mate.
We need some comments in here. I need some backup. This is
talk to me about Cedric.
There's no parity. Look, for a big guy, he's got good feet. He's got good feet.
What? Is he a dancer? What is he? For a big guy, he's got good feet. So does bloody, don't know, Michael Flatley.
I can't defend him.
He did have a poor game, Mark. Let Scotty laugh that one off, Mark. He did struggle a little bit, didn't he? And I don't want to down cry him because I would love it to work, but somebody who's not getting a game for Goof or Thworth isn't he going to come and play for Rangers, is he?
No, I mean that's him for 2 games. Started 2 games. All right, he scored, but he never really done much in that game either. To be fair, apart from score, started talking about Wright as well. You need to take a chance. You're not going to get many, and it was just poor from start to finish. I don't know whether he's not a target man. It doesn't drop deep and link play. He's not a penalty box predator. I'm struggling to find out what type of player he is. I think he's probably struggling to find out what type of player he is because it was getting bullied. It was getting bullied tonight.
Scotty. Sorry, Mark. Scotty, what type of player he is? Because Scotty, you like him as a kind of link-up player, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you still think he's got something? You still think he's got something to offer?
Who are we talking about?
Itten.
No. Being truthfully honest, I think that was definitely an opportunity for him. I do like it when he comes deep because he's got something about him that he tends to drop deep and find an incisive pass. He doesn't do it enough in the game. He doesn't get involved enough in the game. I've always said, and I said this about Morelos as well, I like my strikers to be within the 18-yard box, in the width of the 18-yard box. Stop dropping deep, stop coming wide. You don't need to do that. We've got other players to do that. He's got a real strong tendency to dissipate. You've already said it. Look, I can laugh and joke and make a valid attempt to stick up for him, but all I can say is he's still a better option than some Aberdeen centre forwards.
No.
I think we were just lucky tonight that we were playing Livingston at home and not somebody away or a better team at home. I mean, if it was, a top 6 team, we could have been in serious trouble tonight.
Brian, CGM's a big supporter of all Rangers players. We've seen him vehemently defending Lowry the other night, which I was backing him up, even though it was 2 hours later. But he was saying there, he scored international goals. Someone's seen something for Rangers to play 3.5 million, so we're not going. I'm totally contradicting myself here. We're not going to give up on him yet, are we? Is he still an option we can bring on, like he's shown last season, coming off the bench and stuff like that, or the season before, stuff like that? The last season. Sorry.
Is it now getting to the stage of impact striker sort of status, or or is your CGM suggesting is he more a front 2 man, a big man, little man? I don't know.
Who plays a front 2 nowadays? This isn't Tommy Wright. This isn't the eye.
But I mean, I was again surprised that we played 2 holding midfielders tonight. I thought we were done with that at home, 4-1-4-1. Yeah, again.
Is that not just down to a lack of personnel, though?
Guys, can I just jump in on that, Brian, and spin it to Mark? Because we didn't play 2 sitters. Glenn Kamara played it almost as an 8, where he's never played before for Rangers. I don't think he played as a. We didn't have to. But Sands started in there. Let me just take the point of it into Mark, just to close it off, Mark. One question. I know you've kind of been critical of him. Would Jermaine Defoe finish that one in the first half?
Yep.
Of course. Yeah.
Easy.
I've seen a couple of people question on that.
Right.
Scotty, we understand. I get it, but there is people who dispute that. He's not sharp enough in there.
It's the singling out of Cedric Itten, right? Because
Scotty, I'm not singling out Cedric Itten. I'm going to single out a few more people.
All right, okay. We'll come on to that end. I'm not one to exclude anyone,
No, not. Yeah, and Ewan's making the very good point that I was going to make. So that Ewan's, he's got my notes here. The back line looked so nervous tonight. What's going on? Are people understanding the magnitude? Are we feeling the chase here? Are we? We welcome the chase. Are we feeling the chase here? The back line, McGregor, Bassey, Goldson, for me, all looked a little nervous tonight. Brian.
Well, I was looking at Mark there earlier, and Barisic was rated the highest for Rangers tonight, 8.5 out of 10. So I don't know what they've seen, but they rated Barisic quite highly tonight. Yeah, I mean, I've never been a fan of Bassey at centre half ever since he started. I know he's played well recently. But I mean, for a big lad, I'm still not having him as centre half.
Mark, help me out here.
I like
said recently Bassey's been poorer than he was when he first came in.
Yeah, I like the big fella. See it at centre half. I thought he looked pretty good. I think that maybe tonight he's starting to look over his shoulder a wee bit. Maybe that's how he was a wee bit jittery. I think he's thinking to himself, if I don't play well, I'm at this side. And I think probably he's maybe not going to get in the next game. I don't think he's going to start.
Who's going to start then?
Balogun, I would think.
We're thinking Balogun's going to come back in.
Brian,
do you agree with that?
As I said, I liked him. I thought he was good. I thought he'd done well. Pace and stuff like that, but his distribution was terrible tonight, and he looked nervy. Maybe that's what it is.
Just a quick one on simple kind of man, right? Bunch of moaning bab. Right, listen, we are moaning. Hey, we can't move on to the next one. The whole point of us tonight is to sit and speak about the match. So we're going to have a moan about a match where we didn't play that well, but we still scraped it. So we're going to come to the positive stuff in a minute. So
What?
we're going to move on. If we moved on, we wouldn't have a podcast. So
listen, I've tried to be positive throughout, so I would like that noted. I've tried to be positive, but you keep dragging me down. Did
you say keep dragging you down?
Yeah.
That's fine. I thought you said. I honestly heard you saying something else, and I was like, what?
I think I said.
Second half, Scotty, I thought we did come out the traps a little bit better. We were a lot more quicker in the transition and stuff like that. And I thought Lowry then came into his own. So let's wax lyrical about Lowry for a wee minute.
Yeah. I was sceptical at first about throwing in youngsters because you're always wondering how they handle it. And you know what? For the last 2 games, if you're going to throw in a youngster, this is the kind of impact that you want them to have. It's not necessarily going forward, managing that expectation. Yes, he's going to be the central linchpin to everything that we do going forward, but more of a case of every time he gets the ball, he looks more and more impressive and he gets more and more confident. He's taking shots, he's taking people on. His overall final ball is quality. I think for me, that's what stands out, particularly as the rest of the experience pros, as I said earlier, their final ball was just shocking. There was no composure, no thought into it. Alex Lowry seems to give himself the time to think and actually execute what he wants to do. His first touch, on the whole, apart from a couple of times which I mentioned in the first half when he first got the ball, was class. And he's unlucky. He is unlucky not to get a goal again today or an assist. So, yeah, well done. That he's getting to this, 2 games in, and it's already looking like it's hard to take him out of the team. It's actually looking like, could potentially the injury to my man here be a blessing in disguise for Lowry, particularly as Joe Aribo's coming back in. Huge opportunity for him, and he seems to be taking it. And he, a bit like Nathan Patterson when he came in, completely unfazed by the position he finds himself in. It is extremely impressive and very encouraging to see.
Yeah,
I think the difference with Lowry though is Lowry's coming on and he's a young kid. He hasn't been a first team player, and he's obviously thinking, right, I've got to do something to try and stay here. And he's outshining a lot of the first teamers because he's got something to prove and they don't. Maybe
I thought he played well, Brian, but I think the big thing we probably be saying there, he plays with no fear. He's a young guy looking to get on the ball, and he drifts in and out of the game at times. He's playing like a number 10. That's natural, and they will be a little bit inconsistent. But I thought he's not going to start every single game. I totally agree with that. But would I be happy that if when Aribo's back, he'll play? Would I be happy if Aribo's not playing, then Lowry comes on and can take Aribo off to rest him, and Lowry comes on? 100%. Hadji would have been the man. We still need to get people on that right hand side. We needed a right hand side before Hadji get injured. I think we probably need to go and recruit 2. Let me just touch on what Michael's saying again. All of us other day were saying we wanted to get him in the team. I know there was a few folk who, on this podcast, were saying they weren't sure he was ready for the first team. I'm not wanting to name names, but Stevie English said it. Alan Haggerty said it, and I was so disappointed in Scott Kerr saying it. Right? Poor Martin had his back against the ropes, and they were just getting him. I can see the comments, they were helping Martin out, but the 3 boys battered Martin about poor Alex Lowry. Alex Lowry was man of the match, and the 3 of them were so dour about his chances. So, I'm just calling them out, folks. If you ever see them on Twitter or anything like that, just give them a wee reminder that Alex Lowry played really well and got Kevin Thompson's man of the match tonight. So, move on from the 3 boys. But, Mark, Alex Lowry, he's done himself no harm again, has he?
Let's get positive now. So, Lowry, outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. I spoke about it last week. Give him a chance. Go and let him play. I said that. The wee man is outstanding. He stood up. He's just went, done exactly what I said about it last week. Go and play. Play without fear. And the wee guy's outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Now, caveat that, we don't want to get too much pressure in a young boy. We don't want to get too carried away. But for me, the wee guy's got everything. The wee guy looks apart. It does not look out of place playing in that park with seasoned pros. So, great touch, always in a half turn, seems to be a step ahead. Brilliant. Wee man was outstanding. Over the moon. My man of the match tonight and Andy's last game as well. Definitely man of the match.
Scotty,
outstanding.
do we think we're going to see him? The chat the other night was he should maybe go back to the Bees and maybe come back in for the Annan game. Are we going to see him go back into the Bees now after that? Is he still... He's not going to start, right? But he's proven tonight he can start in certain games, I think.
Do you know the recent equivalent I would compare it to is when Billy Gilmer and Nathan Patterson got into the Scotland team, crying out for something different. We've needed something different. We've needed a bit of a change. We've been very, very samey with Hadji and, well, Aribo's been class, I know, but in the way we play, Lowry gives us something different. I mean, Ryan Kent can take on a player, but Lowry's just got that, I'm going to say it, that Laudrup-esque about him. Right, not a direct comparison, because very, very well what Mark has just said. Don't put too much pressure on his shoulders. But the way he likes to stand up a player and take them on, a bit of skill, got a bit of vision, got a bit of everything. And I think sticking him back in the Bees is only going to be detrimental to his development, because he has got the ability, he's got the skill, he's got the pace. What he doesn't have is the speed of opposition to make him better, or the strength.
Yeah.
So he needs to work on that, and then, yeah.
Brian, it does look like a bit of a conditioning thing for Lowry. There was points in the game where he was kind of getting brushed off the ball and stuff like that, but he looks a special talent. Come on.
I mean, he's obviously just come out of the B team, so he's obviously going to going from the B team to the first team's a huge jump, as you guys and a lot of the other guys have discussed in the Rubble, over the weeks. You can't just come straight from the B team into the first team and expect everything to be the same. So he's obviously have to bulk up a wee bit. He's going to have to be a bit more streetwise, but he's got all the ability. He just needs a bit of the thing is as well, you don't want to just chuck him in and something go wrong and his confidence gets decimated. You want to just ease him in and just quietly give him a start here against the Livingstons and the lower leagues at home, and just ease him in, and then build his confidence up, and get him going. It's going to be difficult because we haven't done this. We had the Pattersons, obviously the last one that we've had, but before that, it's not often we've been able to ease in youth players, is it?
It isn't. And one thing in the second half, went on half time, the group chat, everybody was calling for the substitution to happen, and it was Arfield for Sands and Roofe for Itten, and that happened quite soon after half time. It was before the 60th minute. Mark, did that, looking at the bench as well, gave me a bit of hope tonight. A lot of these guys need games, but our bench looked really strong. Getting Arfield and Roofe on quite early on in the second half certainly helped from the end of the score perspective, didn't it?
Yeah, I think for me, I would have started the two of them. I think probably the reason they didn't start was they've been out for a bit. Mm-hmm. I think that's the reason why. But I think it was a right substitution at the right time, and obviously it worked. We've won the game.
I want to touch on what Mark's saying there, Scotty, and I don't want to get too negative, but would you have played? Listen, we've just absolutely lambasted Cedric Itten for not being good enough, right? But would you have played Kemar Roofe? I don't think Roofe touched the ball in the whole time he came on, and he's still this guy that I think takes 4 or 5 weeks once he's fit, once he's back from his injury, to get fit and even get to the Kemar Roofe that we know he is, and that's pretty frustrating for me.
Do you know what's really frustrating for me is the fact that I agree with you too much. I hate it.
It's unreal, isn't it?
It's almost like I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, because it does take a couple of weeks to get up and running. what he does do though, during the games where he's probably not firing, he has moments. He has fleeting moments where he looks a bit dangerous, gets in the right position, or like for instance, he put in an absolutely ping of a crossfield pass for Sakala, and Sakala just didn't bother touching it and just let it go past. But if he takes it on the chest, then he's in through and goal. So he has got that bit of class, and I do like having the option of Roofe. So he does need to play in order to get these games. But the issue lies is you're playing with an Itten where you're having a passenger for a couple of weeks. But what I would say, he definitely needs to start on Saturday because we need him firing as soon as possible. By some miracle, if it doesn't take him a couple of weeks and he gets firing on Saturday, then we're going into that game against Celtic, and we're going to be starting to look strong.
Folks, there's a lot of people watching, and I can't keep up with the comments. We've talked about people, someone happening to be a moderator there managing the comments for us, but it's very hard to chat, and we chat about the comments, so it's really, I need to manage them, but these are hitting me with them thick and fast. I really want to apologise if I'm not getting to some of your comments, because it's wild tonight. Our match reactions are always really good, so I just thank everybody. You know, we're live on YouTube with all our big stuff. We have fantastic content on Patreon, and we've got our tiered system on YouTube as well. There is other stuff that goes out on YouTube that we video as well. We used to do a lot of stuff on Patreon. It was just audio. We do a lot of other extra stuff on video as well, and there's so much stuff going on. Folks, see in the comments, see if there's anything you want to see us do or see us talk about. Let us know what you want us to do, and we'll put it out there. Help support us. There is £2, £5 that you can do to support the pods and get extra content. There's a lot of stuff we've done in the last year that is there to go and look at.
JD, I thought you were going down the route of Rangers Rebel OnlyFans there. Anything you want?
Yeah. Not yet.
JD and his mannequin.
Yeah, not yet. Folks, if there's any comments you want us to bring up to chat about and you've already put them there and I've missed them, put them back up. Let's have a chat about it. Brian, the substitutions happened and we got the goal. Thank goodness we got the goal. Scotty Arfield's a bit of a talisman for us.
Yeah. I mean, I think in the last few weeks it's been quite evident that we've missed him. He's got something that a lot of our midfielders just don't, which is bundles of energy to go forward and wanting to break the lines and get through the behind the strikers. And we've missed that a lot. And I know his goal tonight wasn't that sort of ilk of goal, but his imagination just to flick that, and well, whether he meant it or not, I have no idea. But just thank goodness that he actually tried it and it came off. But whoever said it earlier, I would give him at least a couple of years more just to, much needed.
Curry Muncher, thank you for your comment there. Just to say that, folks, there's over 400 people watching this right now, which is pretty staggering that there's 400 people watching us. It's just, for us, it just feels like there's 4 of us sitting here chatting. We've seen some of these over 200 likes in some of these videos. So if anybody's sitting watching and you're on YouTube, go and hit the like button for us and see if we can smash that 200 likes again. It'd be brilliant. It really helps the podcast. I know that you see adverts pop up and stuff like that. That's what helps us get to the places we want to be. There's so many things Martin's got under his hat. Under his hat, I don't know why that's funny, Brian. He's slagging his hair or something.
Oh well.
No. So yeah, we want to take the podcast places. So let's see if we can do that in the next year. So, and just thanks to Cameron Kellis, mate. I just see what you've done there. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. Let's move on. So I'll come back to you, Mark, on the Scotty Arfield thing. He is out of contract, by the way. Are we worried about that?
I don't know. I think that Scotty Arfield will walk over glass, hands and knees and glass to sign for us again. I think that it's a given. And personally, I'd give him another year every day of the week. I think what he brings to the team is completely different from any other player on the team. I think what he brings, that thing that he's able to defend as well as go forward. You've got players that can go forward and kind of defend. You've got guys that are defensive that kind of go forward. He can do it. He can do both sides of the game, and it causes problems. You can see when they come on, it causes problems. Just the fact that he's willing to burst 15, 20 yards forward. So for me, every day of the week, sign him, get him another year at least.
Scotty, it was some finish. It was some might call it lucky, but I know what he's doing there. He knows what he's doing as well, doesn't he?
Well, exactly. I think it looks lucky because of the looping nature of the goal, but yeah, he might not have exactly meant it to loop over as it did, but he definitely meant the technique and get the shot on target. So yeah, it was a brilliant bit of ingenuity from him. Interestingly enough, you talk about his contract. I was, when I last came up for the Old Firm game back in, what was it, August, on the plane I was sat next to his agent, and I was actually asking about him because he was obviously out of contract, and his agent basically said, look, Scott's absolutely desperate to stay. He absolutely loves it. There's going to be no problem with his contract. I think Rangers have pretty happy with him. Obviously, this is back when Gerrard was in charge, so I don't know if things changed then, but I don't think talks are actually penciled as a priority for either Rangers or Arfield. I think it's more of a case of there'll be an extension, whether that's a year or 2 year, at some point, because both parties are really, really happy with each other. I think that's how it's lying at the moment. So I don't think it's something we necessarily need to worry about. I mean, I love him. I mean, I have my moments with all the players, I think, as we all do. But I think you guys have hit the nail on the head in terms of his characteristics, how he plays, his determination, his endeavour, and his ability to pop up and score really important goals. I mean, this is I think the second time in 3 seasons where we've beaten them 1-0 at Ibrox and Scotty scored the winner. So,
yeah. Wait. Walter Zenga, by the way, just on that, you were a cracking keeper, but I don't want to pull your comment up. Walter's just saying there, like, talking about our signings, Ross Wilson's signings, and that. See, for me, that's a chat for probably a full podcast we could probably do, and I think we've probably got that in the pipeline to chat about the transfer window. Maybe next week, maybe the end of this week, to do a live. I don't know. Martin will decide. We will be doing a big podcast about transfers and where it's been, where it's going, and how January's been. So, Walter, I don't want to bring your comment up because we don't want. We're 40 minutes in. This is supposed to be some match reaction, but I appreciate your comment about signings and stuff like that. Let's we will get to that during another one. Brian, Rangers have come out and said we will be looking for the older players. I mean, you're talking older players, right? You're talking boys in the 31, 32.
They're youngsters.
Aye.
Compared to us, anyway.
One of them.
Absolute whippets. I mean, the class 32 is old is just ridiculous. I'm sorry. And you only start, I mean, for a midfielder, you'd only consider, I mean, Davis is still playing at 37. Yes, he's on the older side of what you would want as a midfielder, but he still produces the goods, you know. As long as you produce the goods, I really don't care what age you are. I mean, McGregor's 40, David Weir was 40. As long as you produce the goods, and you still doesn't matter what age you are. As far as I'm concerned, if you can still do it, fine.
Mark, I'm going to mention a name that you probably haven't spoke about, but we've spoken about this person too many times, and it's Ryan Jack. And he came back. He's back. He's back on the field of play. He got some minutes tonight. We will hold our horses, Mark, Brian, but he's back on the field of play, Mark. That's got to be positive this time.
Yeah, 100%. He's starting to become a wee bit of a myth now, isn't he? He's a unicorn. He's the one that everybody. He's going to make everything better when he comes back. Brilliant player. I really like Ryan Jack. I think he's a great player. I think what he brings to the side is really good. Just his fitness worries me. It just worries me. And good to see him back. But as I said, let's get positive again. As I said, great to see him back. And I think that hopefully he kicks on for you. I think that if he has a wee setback again, I can't see him. I think he's out of contract as well at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I think that he needs to kick on for you. I think he maybe struggle. He maybe got another year. They maybe offer him another year if he has another setback. Thing is, Gio's not seen much of him. Gio's not seen enough of him to go like that. Oh, well, we'll give him another year. But it's great to see him back. As I said, I think he's a smashing player. I love the fact that he's got a bit of spite as well. We spoke about it before as well. I think a midfielder for Rangers, you need to have that bit of spite. I like it, as I said, and his positional play is brilliant. It just seems to be in the right place at the right time all the time. Even tonight, he showed a wee bit of glimpses as well. But I just hope that he's going to stay fit. It seems to be one of those things that it just can't get fit. It's a shame.
Scotty, I'm going to just pull something in. People are chatting amongst themselves about this. In the
I saw that.
I thought McGregor done well tonight with the ball at his feet, by the way, and I thought he was put in to some precarious positions by Bassey and Goldson at times. Sands one time, Kamara as well, back to him. I thought McGregor handled the ball quite well.
Stop it.
I understand he does have moments, but I thought he was okay tonight.
Stop reading my thoughts. There's a favour. No, absolutely correct. We know McGregor's not the best with the ball at his feet, but I wouldn't actually pinpoint any fault whatsoever throughout the touches that he had. In fact, I think he did really well with some of the pass backs. He was unlucky not to get to one header back from Bassey, between Bassey and Goldson. God knows what they were thinking. But yeah, McGregor was completely faultless.
Can I just
I'm not sure where that's come from.
Somebody's just come into the comments and we were supposed to call it. So, a big follower of ours, Aldo, was at the game tonight and we all seen his pictures on Twitter taking his daughter to our first ever game, mate. So, it was Eva, wasn't it? With Eva? She had a good night, Aldo. We got the victory. He's got the victory for us. So, hope you had a great night, mate. It was good to see the pictures of you. And I heard you met Wilf as well. So, Wilf was in the chat, wasn't he? They were buzzing that they met you. So, yeah, I'm glad little Eva had a good game and we got the result for her. But it's good that you've got home and made time for the pods. I didn't think you would have made it on, mate. But well done. Thank you. Okay, folks. I was going to call a quick quits, but we'll do a wee quick 5 minutes, right? And I know, Scott, you've probably got some sort of craft gin and scraping of cucumber to get, but let's just go for 5 minutes. And Brian, we'll go away.
Well, I'm definitely not cracking open the champagne, am I?
No, you're certainly not, mate. It's January. How many? There's 5 days. Is there 5 days to go? Are you concerned?
We're cutting it fine. It's a lot finer than I would like. But it's blatantly obvious we need a right winger now.
Is it just one though? We needed a right winger before Hadji got injured.
Yeah, that was the way to say it. We needed it before Hadji got injured. So whether we produce 2 is debatable. I hate cutting things too fine like this, and yeah, I'm cautiously worried. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think if by talking about cutting things fine, I think we'll go to Scotty next. I think he done that tonight. Scotty, are we cutting it fine to bring in some players? And next question: is Alex Lowry an answer that could play on the right hand side? I suppose.
I think. Hang on, which one? I'll answer Larry first because that one's the fresh. I'll probably just say sticking where he is. Centrally, I think. I think he's flourishing there, and I don't see why you change it. Stick him out on the right, and I've got a feeling it's like sticking Hadji on the right, and it's just not going to work. He's going to be isolated. I think he can play there, and he'll probably play there better than Hadji because he's actually got a bit of pace. But I think give him a lot of trust, stick him there. In terms of are we cutting it fine? I still don't know what you're talking about. I was here with plenty of time. We were supposed to go on air at 10 to, and I was here at 1:45. So, yeah, you can pipe down with that chat.
Oh, Mark, have we rattled him with that chat?
Well, sounds like it.
I'm very punctual. I'm very proud of my punctuality. Right, so, what was I going to say? 5 days to go. you know, we hear of the old cliches, don't we? That, oh, you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. There's always a lot going on, and we're thinking, well, what has actually gone on? We brought in James Sands, and I don't think the club were expecting to do much business in the first place. We've heard about all the rumours with Scott Olsen, and we've all got excited by that. But as it transpires that there's still been zero contact, so who knows where these rumours actually come from, or whether even now we're going in the market for these types of players, whether we're actually interested in the first place or we're interested now. So that's quite interesting. So, you know, as any fan, we've got absolutely zero input to what happens with these decisions. So we are just all voyeurs at the end of the day.
Someone had put in the chat earlier about some sort of there's an imminent right-sided loan going to be happening, but there was no elaboration on it. I don't want to blow this up, Matt, but I'm going to bring it to you, mate. So be careful with your answer, but be honest with your answer. This is gathering some pace the last couple of days, by the way. Lewis Ferguson.
No, for me, I'm afraid. I think he's a good squad player, but I don't think he's good enough. I was thinking that we'd probably get a marquee signing. I thought that we'd get somebody that would have improved with first 11 rather than somebody that's just going to come in, i.e. a loan to come in and cover the right wing. I think we need an attack. I think even before Hadji, I thought we needed an attacking midfielder. We needed somebody that can play 8 or 10. We needed somebody that can create. I think that you look at Aribo. If Aribo's not playing, we struggle. Tonight we struggled with creativity. We need somebody that can open doors, can pick locks. And I was hoping we were going to get, i.e. a marquee signing, somebody that would maybe spent 4 or 5 million, somebody that you spend 4 or 5 million and then 2 or 3 good seasons, you maybe sell them for 10, 50. But I just think we're getting that deep into the transfer window now that definitely not going to come.
See, to get somebody for 4 or 5 million in January, they're probably only worth 2 or 3 million. That's maybe the problem you have. Can I just jump in, because I probably made a face here to Michael's comment there. Why are you down on Sands? Like, I interviewed Joe Bogart, and he was waxing lyrical about James Sands and was talking about him being potentially worth like $10 million, which is what is that, like 6 or 7 million quid, 4 or 5 million quid, something like that. I don't know what the exchange rate is, Scotty. You're in the city, you might be able to tell us that. But I made a face because when we're talking about transfers, we've brought in a centre half and we've brought in a defensive midfielder. That was probably the least 2 positions we didn't need. We were needing other areas. So the Sands one for me wasn't a pressing transfer. However, if Gio wanted him and he's available, he's going to just take him regardless of our squad. But I think there was more pressing things than James Sands, possibly. Scotty.
Yes, I again agree. This is sickening.
That's me.
I think we had this discussion in the group chat, didn't we? And I was making the point that, look, yes, okay, we do have more pressing positions, but if it transpires that a player's available and he isn't a priority position, it doesn't necessarily force you to turn it down because you are looking for something else. And I just think that is where we are at the moment. I just want to touch on the Lewis Ferguson thing. I'm not saying he's a quality player, but it's the old cliche. He knows the league. He knows how to play against the teams that we struggle against. He's got that, I think, a real Ian Ferguson kind of vibe about him. And
I like that comparison, mate. Yeah, I like it.
And I do think he is something, adds a dynamic that we are missing. Kevin Thompson was talking about, if you actually listen to it, he likes his teams to be a bit aggressive, try and make a mark. Not necessarily aggressively, but it also helps G the crowd up, which G's the team up, and sometimes you need that spark. And I think that's something that Walter Smith has drummed into him, and he noticed it with all his players. Barry Ferguson, his uncle, was especially good at it. If it was 0-0, stagnant game, he'd go in, take a yellow card. Yeah. Rash tackle. Kevin Thompson himself would do it. And I think Lewis Ferguson brings that to us.
Sometimes
brings
it
that.
really helps him.
Yeah.
He has that side to his game.
Yeah.
Brian, would you take him? I've pulled up Rangers Rabble, aka Martin Douglas's comment saying no, that's the opinion of Martin Douglas, aka the Rangers Rabble, not the opinion of the wider Rangers Rabble. Would you take him? I don't think I would take him, to be fair.
There's some of me does and there's some of me doesn't. I just think
Brian, you're sitting on the fence. That's not used to me.
I know. I just think there's more there's more negatives than good is what I'm trying to say. There is some good bits, but the good bits just don't outweigh the negatives as far as I'm concerned.
Mark?
No, he's, like I said, he's a good squad player. And I take the point, he's got a bit of spite, as I said, but so's Ryan Jack. What does he bring that's different for Ryan Jack?
He can actually play a game of football. He can actually play 90 minutes.
But if the two of them are fit, you take Ryan Jack every day of the week.
Aye, but if my auntie she'd be my uncle.
Enough, I know that, mate.
A wee point here.
Jack on a run now. He's going to play every game to the end of the season.
Hopefully. I like to see stuff like this. I like to see people who watch SPL football and watch other teams show guys who. This one here, Jay Henderson, this boy probably won't be at St Mirren next year. Might not even be St Mirren by the end of January. He perhaps is going to be going down south very, very soon. So there's young boys all over the SPL that could come in. We'll say, they're not good enough. St Mirren players can't play for Rangers. They probably can, but we've proven over the last week or so that young boys coming for our B team can do that as well.
I mean, at the end of the day, if Ferguson's name wasn't Ferguson, we'd be speaking about him.
Well, he's a goal-scoring midfielder that scored more goals than any of our midfielders, so what James is right.
How old is he? He's 22, 23. He's played a couple of hundred professional football games. Doesn't look like slowing down. He's got the engine box to box. He's aggressive. He scores goals. He can defensively minded. Yeah, sure. He's probably a bit rough around the edges, but come on. Look, if we want to finish Lewis Ferguson, we're paying top dollar for it. What we do have is the opportunity to. Pardon?
Sorry, they're wanting silly money from anyway.
I know.
Not stupid money.
Well, what's his contract situation? I don't know. But I don't think that we are in a position to turn our nose up at it when we're talking about Scott Arfield. Yeah, he can play for as long as possible, but how long is that? Stephen Davis isn't going to be around forever. Glenn Kamara is probably going to go in the summer. Joe Aribo is probably going to go in the summer. We are looking at a complete overhaul over the next 12 months. And if you're turning around and go, well, I'm going to turn my nose up at Lewis Ferguson, we're going to turn up our nose at a lot of players and we won't have anyone to play for us. So it's actually time we actually got a bit realistic and actually appreciated. Our track record of signing players from within Scottish football is actually pretty good. And if we actually go back through history, and you've got people that turn up the nose at signing players from St Mirren, and then in the same breath going, you shouldn't mention Lewis Ferguson in the same breath as Ian Ferguson. Well, we signed Ian Ferguson from St Mirren, and I don't see that turning out too badly. So people need to actually take a dose of
reality,
slice of humble pie or reality or whatever, and just appreciate that footballers do get better. They do thrive in better teams. Sometimes it doesn't work out, and in my opinion, sometimes in like Scott Wright, I don't see it as working out. But other times it does, and you highlight Ryan Jack, you highlight Glenn Kamara, you highlight I can't think of anyone else. But carry on.
What about Jordan Jones?
no, that.
Do you know what I mean? Jordan Jones.
It's a 50-50 thing. Jordan Jones did not have the attitude to play for Rangers, and that's the problem. That's a big thing. We need to do a lot of profiling on people rather than making snap decisions. If anyone done a bit of profiling on Jordan Jones, they would have found something out on him within 2 hours. It was known. That was a disappointment, but we obviously took a chance on him. Anyway, sorry. I'm ending this on a positive note. Ali's saying it. Ryan Jack was one of our best midfielders, if not the best midfielder, keeping the ball, recycling the ball, winning the ball back. He's back. Let's give him a bit of positivity. He came back last time, broke down, it never worked. He's back this time. If we have Ryan Jack now fit for the rest of the season, that's like a new signing. Scott Arfield stays fit. Again, Kemar Roofe, there's another body. Are we perhaps holding out here? Brian, do you think we're holding out, maybe not bringing in the bodies, or are we still going to bring in some bodies?
No, I think, well, the players you mentioned are all more defensively minded. We're still lacking numbers up top, I think. And as Mark said earlier, we were needing a right winger before Hadji got injured. So there's one, possibly two sort of attacking positions required. But no, I mean, as you said, the players you mentioned, Hollander, he's due to come back. That's another positive.
He's having a laugh here. He's having a laugh. We're not bringing Glenn Middleton back.
I'll pass that one to Scotty.
I'm kidding on.
Nah.
Listen, everybody, thank you. That was a good chat. It's 55 minutes. I can't believe that. You can tell I've got nothing to do tonight. I've got nobody to speak to, so I'm staying on here for an hour after a match reaction. These used to so thank you to over 400 people who have been watching. I know people have come in and out, fleeting and stuff like that. Scotty.
Mannequin, how long before you dress her up?
No, the mannequin's not right. I'm not allowed to touch the mannequin. I've tried to put wee pictures of Morelos' face and all that on it. I'm not allowed to touch the mannequin. That mannequin was expensive. Anyway, I seen somebody saying Itten's the new Eduardo Herrera. Anyway, let's move on for that. We want to support every Rangers player in the pod, so we're the Rangers rabble. We'll try. We'll be honest. We'll give our opinions. We'll give everybody that's in the comments their opinions as well, as long as you keep it clean. So I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Thanks for anyone who subscribes and likes for us. Please do that if you can. Get the rabble out there. We're trying to be as best and as good as we can. We try and keep it fun, have a laugh. Give everybody their views and their opinions. We'll call you out if we think you're wrong. But Scotty, thank you very much for coming on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hope everyone's doing well.
Good.
Thanks for the listeners, viewers, everyone out there.
Yeah. Brian, thank you.
Cheers.
Sir, again.
Yeah. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Enjoyed the chat as usual.
Yeah, Mark, you're the new guy, but you've been in about it. You've been flung in the deep end a few times, haven't you? So thank you again, sir, for joining us.
Absolute pleasure.
Liking your views, mate. So thank you. Folks, we are back. We'll be recording something for the Ross County game at the weekend. So that'll be going out somewhere at some point. We're recording that soon. Then we'll have our match reaction for the Ross County game too. But we'll look forward to the big one on the horizon a week today. And we'll see what happens then. But everyone, thanks for joining us. Take care.